The M901 ITV is an American-made anti-tank variant of the M113. The base model M113 is an American armored personnel carrier and a step up in evolution from the previous M59, which entered service in 1954. The vehicle was first approved for production in 1960 and soon upgraded to the M113A1 in 1964, replacing the Chrysler gasoline engine with a Detroit diesel just in time for the Vietnam War. During the war, the APC proved to have average survivability for its class, being on par with contemporaries such as the Soviet-made BMP-1, but while also being much more comfortable for the crew and dismounts. The M113 has been modified to fit dozens of different roles, ranging from MEDEVAC, air defense, mortar carrier, or even as a flamethrower. With all these different roles it has filled before, in simple terms, the US Army thought one day, why not make it a tank killer too? The M901 ITV was developed in the 1970s by the contractor United Defense LP atop the M113A2 platform to fill the role as a specialized ATGM carrier. Because the Army was certain that missile systems on ground vehicles was the future, which led to other ATGM slingers, such as the M60A2, mockingly referred to as the Starship due to its complexity, and the M551 Sheridan. Both vehicles mentioned were plagued with an abundance of problems regarding their 152mm gun launcher systems. Production of the M901 ran from 1977 to 1998, with a total of 3,315 examples constructed. Introduced to the US Army in 1978, the basic M901 model was equipped with a GMC 6V53 diesel engine paired with a DS200 controlled differential. In terms of fuel, 95 gallons were stored in two tanks located within the inner walls at the rear of the vehicle. This gave the vehicle a top speed of 40 miles per hour and a cruising range of 300 miles in ideal conditions. Despite this mobility, the M901 constantly lagged behind other vehicles in the company, such as the M1 Abrams and M2 M3 Bradleys. The vehicle was armored with 1.5 inches of weld-rolled homogeneous 5083 and 5086 H32 aluminum at every angle other than the floor, which is enough to protect the crew from hostile small arms and artillery fragments. The M901 is capable of fording 3 feet 4 inches of water at a speed of no more than 2.5 miles per hour. Despite what some sources say, the vehicle is not amphibious in any sort of capacity. The engine bay is located to the front right of the vehicle and can be accessed by a hatch located on the upper front plate. On the top deck, 2 grills are positioned side by side. The left grill, closest to the driver's position, is an air intake that feeds into the radiator. The right grill is to ventilate heat from the engine bay, and positioned to its top right corner is the exhaust, which is protected by an armored cover. A large ramp acts as almost the entire rear section of the hull. It can be lowered in moments where ammunition is needed to be loaded, or the crew is entering or needing to bail out of the vehicle in case of an emergency. In the event the ramp is jammed or cannot open, there is still a door that can be used by the crew located on the left side of the ramp when looking at the M901 from the outside. The vehicle has a crew of 4, including the squad leader, gunner, loader, and driver. The squad leader was positioned to the left of the turret behind the driver and had access to a periscope with 4 times magnification. This periscope elevated 22 inches above the deck of the vehicle and had a 360-degree field of rotation with an elevation of +10 to -20 degrees. To his right, an AN VRC-64 or an AN GRC-160 radio set was at their disposal, which could be used to communicate with allies positioned outside the vehicle. The gunner, located to the right of the squad leader, was positioned within a basket connected to the turret. They had access to a hatch located above, which could be used to either enter or leave the vehicle. The gunner has direct control to the turret and launcher via a control stick and neighboring panels. To aim, the gunner uses a 3 times to 13 times magnification day sight for the tone launcher. Along with this, they also have a night sight with narrow field of view and wide field of view settings. The turret rotates on the azimuth using a hydraulic system which can be hand-pumped by the gunner in case a fault arose. The loader is positioned on the right side of the vehicle next to the ATGM stowage. In order to reload the launchers, the rear of the mount can be lowered near the cargo hatch on top of the chassis. Once in position, the gunner unlocks the launch tubes, and the loader opens a hatch and slides each toe into the launchers by hand. The complete loading process can take up to 40 seconds. The driver sits at the front left of the vehicle next to the engine. To operate the vehicle, they use 2 control levers and a pedal on the floor to dictate which direction the M901 moves. To see, the driver has 4 vision ports angled to the front right, front left, and left side of the vehicle, as well as 4 headlights in pairs of 2, each pair located on the left and the right of the front of the vehicle. At night or in low visibility conditions, the driver can use an M19 infrared periscope. To their left are panels which display critical information about the engine and propulsion system, such as speed, RPM, heat, and fuel. To access the vehicle, the driver has a pop-up hatch above them. The basic M901's primary weapon consisted of 2 M220A1 tow launchers housed side by side within an M27 hammerhead mount. Up to 10 BGM-71 I-tow ATGMs could be carried, all of which stored within the chassis of the M113 behind the engine bay. Another ATGM launcher, a tripod-mounted tow platform, was stowed within the hull, and in situations where the main launcher is out of action, it can be dismounted and set up within a few minutes. In addition to the M220A1 launchers, the M901 also carried a defensive anti-infantry machine gun mounted on the gunner's modified M27 cupola with up to 800 rounds stored underneath the floor of the left side of the vehicle. An M16 rifle was also stored near the squad leader's position. A second defensive feature is in the form of 2 4-tube M243 smoke grenade launchers, one mounted on the left and right of the vehicle. These launchers have a range of about 100 feet and an arc of 105 degrees, and can be used to conceal the ITV in a dangerous situation. The clouds these grenades produce can be up to 30 feet tall and last 1 to 3 minutes. The M901 had a couple of notable upgrades throughout its service history with the US Army. The first, designated M901A1, was an upgrade to existing M901s so that they could operate the M220A2 TOW2 system, as well as its A and B models, allowing the vehicle to fire BGM-71D, E, or F ATGMs. The second modification, the M901A3, introduced improved survivability in the form of spall liners, improved mobility by incorporating a rise power pack, and notably improving driver comfort. The A3 modification also allowed the gunner to automatically stow the hammerhead for transport or storage at the flip of a switch. One vehicle I've seen commonly mistaken for an M901 is the M901 FISTV, or Fist V. The Fist V is almost identical to the M901, apart from the fact that instead of ATGMs, the M981's hammerhead houses artillery observation equipment, which is able to laze the range of a target, and using the vehicle's onboard global positioning system can accurately relay precise coordinates of a designated target to a fire team. During Operation Desert Storm, each armored and mechanized infantry company in the US Army had one M981 used to direct fire support in tandem with a combat observation and lasing team. Similar to the M901, the Fist V had a crew of 4, a lieutenant, a non-commissioned officer, and 2 enlisted soldiers. The only time known where the M901 fired a missile in anger was during the First Gulf War of 1991, where it shined in its role of providing accurate and devastating fire support, being credited with at least 14 kills against Iraqi tanks throughout Operation Desert Storm with no losses suffered. Apart from the United States, the M901 has also seen service in Bahrain, Egypt, Greece, Jordan, Morocco, Pakistan, Portugal, Thailand, and Tunisia. The largest operators being Egypt and Greece, fielding about 300 vehicles each. As of 2015, the United States has been the only nation to fully retire the M901, having done so in the mid-1990s in favor of Bradley fight-in vehicles. The Bradley filled the ITV's intended role while being much more mobile and while drastically improving survivability for the crew and dismounts. And that's all we have left to talk about when it comes to the M901 improved tow vehicle. I want to extend my gratitude to my supporters, Tanks for Me, Jackson, and perhaps Worthy. Your generous contributions have allowed me to create bigger and better videos for you guys on YouTube. Thank you very much. Without further ado, that'll be all for today. Surviving History, out.